A deafening alarm tore through the ship, its shrill scream jolting the crew into instant action. Sailors sprinted across the deck, radars pulsed, while officers in the command center leaned forward, their eyes locked on the glowing screens before them. A Chinese fighter jet, sleek and predatory, sliced through the thin veil of clouds. This was no accident, no wayward pilot lost in the vastness of the sea. On the bridge, the captain's voice was steady but edged with tension. "Confirm that heading." The reply came in a clipped tone. "Direct intercept course, sir." No response to hails. Was this a test? A provocation? A prelude to something worse? The radar's steady beep was a countdown, each pulse marking the shrinking distance between defiance and disaster. On deck, weapons teams stood ready, their fingers hovering near triggers. In the skies above, the roar of scrambling U.S. fighters added to the cacophony. The world beyond the ship faded into silence. For the men and women aboard the carrier, there was only this moment, this breathless, suspended instant where the next move could mean the difference between a standoff and a war. And still, the jet came on. The carrier's combat systems blared to life, their electronic heartbeat pulsing through the ship like a war drum. In the Combat Information Center, screens flickered with data as officers leaned into their consoles, eyes locked on the approaching threat. Unidentified aircraft. "This is USS Theodore Roosevelt," the air traffic controller called out, his voice steady but urgent. "You are approaching restricted airspace. Identify yourself and state your intentions." Static crackled in response. The crew exchanged glances. This wasn't just a lost pilot. This was deliberate. Up on the bridge, the captain's knuckles whitened around the railing. "Sound general quarters," he ordered, his voice cutting through the murmurs. Klaxons wailed, and the ship's intercom boomed. "All hands, man your battle stations." Below deck, pilots sprinted to their fighters, helmet visors snapping shut as they strapped into their cockpits. The deck crew moved like a choreographed storm. Fuel lines disconnected, chocks pulled away, catapult officers signaling readiness. With a thunderous roar, the first FA-18 Super Hornet launched into the sky, its afterburner glowing like a comet's tail. Then another. And another. The Chinese jet didn't flinch. It kept coming, a dark silhouette against the horizon, its speed unwavering. The U.S. interceptors climbed fast, their radars painting the intruder with targeting locks. "Fox 2, one pilot muttered under his breath, a warning that his missiles were hot. But rules of engagement held them back. No first shots. Not here, not yet. In the CIC, a junior officer wiped sweat from his brow. "Sir, they're not responding to hails. Not even a squawk." The captain's jaw tightened. "Then we escort them out. And if they don't turn, we make them." The U.S. fighters closed in, their wingtips nearly brushing the intruder's fuselage. The message was clear. You are not welcome here. Still, the Chinese jet held its line, as if testing how far it could push before the Americans blinked. The seconds stretched. The standoff teetered on a knife's edge. Then, finally, a crackle over the radio. A single word, spoken in accented English. "Adjusting." The Chinese jet banked away, its afterburners flaring as it peeled off into the haze. The crew exhaled, but nobody celebrated, because they all knew this wouldn't be the last time. The Chinese J-11 cut through the humid South China Sea air like a blade, its shark-gray fuselage glinting in the sun as it penetrated deeper into restricted airspace. On the carrier deck, Crew members froze mid-motion, their eyes locked skyward, as the intruder passed within visual range, close enough to see the red star insignia on its wings. In the CIC, radar operators called out numbers in tense monotones. Bogey now at 2 miles and closing, speed holding steady at 500 knots, altitude 800 feet. The FA-18s from the Combat Air Patrol swooped in like angry hornets, their wingtip vortices shimmering in the tropical air as they bracketed the intruder. The lead American pilot, callsign Cowboy, edged his Hornet so close he could see the Chinese pilot's helmet through the canopy. "Shanghai 1, this is U.S. Navy Hornet," Cowboy transmitted, his voice tight. "You are violating controlled airspace. Break off immediately or be escorted out." Silence. Then, a sudden jerk of the J-11's nose. The Chinese pilot executed a hard starboard roll that brought him within 50 feet of Cowboy's wingtip. The American's stomach lurched as turbulence from the maneuver rattled his aircraft. "What the heck? He's buzzing me!" Cowboy barked, instinctively banking away. On the carrier, the tactical action officer grabbed the radio. "Cap, flight. Weapons, tight. Repeat. Weapons, tight." The Chinese jet suddenly climbed vertically, its twin AL-31 engines screaming as it executed a textbook vertical scissors maneuver, an aggressive dogfighting tactic that put it momentarily out of sight. The American pilots craned their necks, searching the empty blue. A shadow passed overhead. The J-11 had looped around and was now diving straight toward the carrier's superstructure. Gasps erupted across the flight deck as crew members instinctively ducked. "Hard deck! Hard deck!" screamed the air boss as the Chinese fighter pulled up at the last second, its jet wash rattling the island structure. The sonic boom of its afterburners rattled teeth as it climbed away. In the CIC, the captain's face was granite. That was no navigational error. That was a deliberate demonstration. The American Hornets gave chase, but the J-11 suddenly slowed to near-stall speed, forcing the faster Super Hornets to overshoot. Another classic dogfighting technique. As they circled back, the Chinese pilot finally keyed his mic. "American aircraft, this airspace belongs to China. You will withdraw." The radio transmission hung in the air like a challenge. For one frozen heartbeat, the entire South China Sea seemed to hold its breath. Then, against all expectations, the J-11 banked sharply north and accelerated toward Hainan Island, leaving the American pilots staring at its shrinking silhouette. The confrontation was over. But the message had been delivered, in the language of thrust vectors and afterburners, of inches and seconds. This wasn't just about one aircraft. This was about who owned the sky.